Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm so happy you're here. So today we are going to be making New Orleans meets St. Lucia style beignets. And I say St. Lucia style because we're going to be infusing our beignets, our fried, doughy, crispy perfection. We're going to be infusing them with flavors of St. Lucia. We're going to be using some almond extract, some nutmeg, all delicious flavors, aromas that remind me of St. Lucia, of home, and I'm so excited to share it with you. Before we get into it though, if you have not already, I invite you to subscribe to the channel so you catch all the recipes that I will be posting to. So without further ado, here we go.
Let's get it going with these St. Lucia meets New Orleans style beignets. So you're going to want to add 3/4 of a cup of warm water to a bowl. Then go ahead in with 2 tablespoons or 1 package of yeast and sprinkle on a little bit of sugar just to help the yeast feed off of and let it bloom for about 5 minutes. Next, go ahead in with 2 tablespoons of melted butter, a half of a cup of evaporated milk, 1 egg, 2 teaspoons of almond extract, and a half of a cup of granulated sugar. Next, go ahead and add in half of a teaspoon of salt, and here is one of the stars of our beignets, nutmeg. I am using a freshly ground nutmeg. I prefer the flavor, and I am really just grating until the ancestors say to stop, from Evelyn of the internets, as she would say. So just go ahead and grate your heart away. You cannot overdo it, I promise. I probably used about a teaspoon here. So you're gonna wanna mix up all those wet ingredients until it's all good, and that's it. Set that aside while we work on the dry ingredients, which is really just 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour that I am using my handy dandy sifter to sift. Then you're gonna wanna just make a well in the middle of the flour, and that's all you got to do is just pour in the wet ingredients, and the dough comes together very, very quickly after this step. Next, just go ahead and mix all of the liquid into the flour until a shaggy type of dough is formed. This is a no-knead dough, which is so great. You do not have to, I don't have a stand mixer, and so I didn't want to have to sit there for 10 minutes kneading this with my hand, but that's okay because that's not necessary. As soon as all the flour is incorporated, you are done. All right, so here I am just going in with my hands for just 30 seconds or so just to make sure all that flour is incorporated into the dough, getting all the bits of flour that my spatula did not get to. And we're gonna set this dough aside to rise for a little less than an hour is what I did, until it doubles in size. I went ahead and smoothed some vegetable oil, about a tablespoon of vegetable oil, all over the surface so that it does not form a crust on your beautiful dough that you worked so hard but not really to make, because it's so easy. All right, y'all, so you're gonna want to just leave your dough for about an hour, and here is what it's gonna look like, a little less than an hour. So next, before we get working on the dough, we're gonna heat up. I have a cast iron skillet that I filled to about halfway with vegetable oil. I'm gonna let it heat up at medium-high heat. Next, I'm adding in some powdered sugar. I got about a cup of powdered sugar and a tablespoon of ground cinnamon. That will be what we finish off our beignets with. So back to the dough. Go ahead and deflate the air that developed while it was rising. Then liberally flour your surface of your cutting board. And then you're going to want to just use your fingers to work the dough into a loose rectangle shape. I am not too crazy about having it be a perfect rectangle and having all my squares look amazing, because guess what? It's going to taste just fine. If you really want that, you can use a square rectangle shaped cookie cutter to make your cuts of your beignets. But this is just fine for me. So I'm just going to roll it out into a loose, something resembling a rectangle, kind of, sort of. And you're going to want to roll it out until it's about a quarter of an inch thick, or like this. Then all you got to do is cut your squares. Mine are about 2 inches, 2 inches by 2 inches in length and width. Just really loose rectangles. It does not have to be perfect, like I said. But if you prefer the crisp look, well, you're welcome to use a square cookie cutter. To the oil we go. My oil is heated up to, I actually do not use a candy thermometer because I don't have one. So what I do is I actually just take a little ball of dough and put it into the oil. And when it is bubbling vigorously, I know it is done. So here I went with the first 2 pieces of my beignet. I gently laid them into the hot oil, and then I went ahead with the spoon and carefully I'm spooning the hot oil over the beignet, and that's going to help with the fluffiness. And you're going to go ahead about 30 to 45 seconds aside. You're going to want to flip it over when it's golden brown, and then let it continue to cook and get golden brown. This is a very, very fast process. And as you see, you are left with fluffy, delicious golden bakes, bakes. They are similar to bakes, but beignets in this case. So good. Here I am plating them up. This point, you're going to sift your powdered sugar cinnamon mixture on top until you have a mound of powdered sugar. You can't have too much here, I promise. It is so good, so fluffy. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more. Thanks.